For the latest from Lima, let's talk to our correspondent Dan Collins, who's been following President Xi Jinping's visit there very closely. Dan, APEC host nation Peru already has strong trade ties with China, one of the APEC's biggest economies. So are there high expectations for this meeting and China's role in APEC?
There are indeed, yes. China is expected to play a leading role at this meeting of the economic leaders from 21 economies around the Asia-Pacific. And Xi Jinping arrived about 2 hours ago in the Peruvian capital, Lima, and he will be giving a keynote address as leaders convene on Saturday morning, beginning at the CEO summit. And after that, he will be holding a series of bilateral meetings with other leaders from the APEC region, and those will include Barack Obama of the United States, Vladimir Putin of Russia, and among others, I understand the leader of the Philippines, Rodrigo Duterte. But this is clearly seen as an important meeting for the leader of China. This is clearly an opportunity for China to play a leadership role. Not only is he strengthening relations with the three countries he's visiting in Latin America, but he also has a forum to communicate with nations from around the Asia-Pacific at a time of economic uncertainty, given the news of last week, the US elections, and Donald Trump, the president-elect's opinion about the flagship Obama administration trade deal, the Trans-Pacific Partnership. Now, he said that he's opposed to it, and he said that it will hurt American jobs. And so it's unlikely that that deal will be ratified in the US Congress next year. This has been a trade deal which has been negotiated over several years. It involves 12 members of APEC, but does not include China. And it does, analysts are saying that it looks like, as they've said, a dead duck. And it gives the opportunity for China to push forward its two China-led trade deals. As we understand, ministers have been, just before the leaders have convened, ministers have been hammering out a study of a regional trade deal led by China, which they hope they're asking for leaders to finalize by the end of the year, at which point negotiations can begin on that trade deal, which includes all 21 APEC members. That's called the Free Trade Agreement of the Asia-Pacific. China will also be pushing forward another trade deal, which includes Asian members of APEC and also Australasian members. It also includes India, which is not yet a member of APEC, but excludes nations in the Americas from that deal. That's the RCEP, the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership. So two important deals on the agenda, China looking to play an important role in keeping free trade in the region.
Well, Dan, we know that President Kaczynski visited China early in his term that began in July, stressing the importance of the relationship with China. So how do local people view President Xi Jinping's trip to Peru?
Well, I think people in Peru are very aware of the importance of the Chinese economy for Peru's economy. They know that the bilateral trade between the two countries is one of the most important for Peru. It totaled $15 billion in 2015, so it's one of the biggest trade relationships of any country in Latin America with the Asian giant. But of course, as you mentioned, Xi Jinping also wrote in a column in El Comercio newspaper stressing the bonds of friendship which China has with Peru. As you mentioned, Peru has the largest population in Latin America of overseas Chinese people. Chinese people have been living in Peru for more than 150 years, and they form an important part of the culture here. So those bonds go beyond economic ties and extend to ties of friendship and also culture. There are actually 4 Confucius Institutes established in this country, and more students are becoming involved in exchange programs with China and learning Mandarin, as they see that China will be an increasingly important economy and country for Peru and other countries in the region. But I think Pedro Pablo Kaczynski, I had the opportunity to speak to him on behalf of CCTV before his visit to China. He said exactly why he was making his first official visit at the beginning of his presidency. not just because it's Peru's #1 trading partner, but he wanted to consolidate those ties in the long term, China's relationship as a stakeholder in the region, and he wanted China's technical experience in building infrastructure, something which is badly needed in Peru. For example, ports, to name a few among other things, and also deepen the ties in terms of the commerce between the two countries. At the moment, Peru is a major exporter of minerals to China, particularly copper, but it wants to start exporting more agro products such as fruit and vegetables and other products such as coffee and chocolate to cater to China's growing middle class and consolidate those commercial ties for the years to come.
Thank you very much. Our correspondent Dan Collins in Lima.